The Echoes of Hollow Manor, in the deepest heart of the countryside, nestled amidst gnarled ancient oaks whose branches twisted like arthritic fingers, and swallowed by creeping ivy that clung to its stone facade like a second skin, stood Hollow Manor. For decades, it had remained a brooding, desolate landmark, its vacant windows like empty eyes staring out onto a world that had long forgotten its existence. Its history was shrouded in impenetrable mystery, tales of unspeakable tragedy, and inexplicable disappearances clinging to its very stones like damp, pervasive moss. Emily, a brilliant historian with a profound fascination for the macabre and a distinct penchant for forgotten lore, saw not a derelict ruin, but a treasure trove of untold stories, a historical puzzle waiting to be solved. Armed with her trusty recorder, her meticulous notes, and a spirit bordering on reckless curiosity, she sought to document the manor's shadowed past, to uncover the chilling truth behind the whispers that locals still exchanged in hushed, fearful tones. She had been warned, of course. Old Mr. Abernathy, who lived in the nearest isolated village, had clasped her arm with a surprisingly strong grip, his eyes wide with genuine, unfeigned fear. "Don't go there, lass. The air ain't right. Voices, they echo through those halls, a chorus of the lost. Shadows, they move on their own accord, shifting and twisting into impossible forms." Emily had smiled politely, dismissing his words as the superstitious ramblings of the elderly. She would soon learn the profound folly of her youthful bravado. Her first night in the grand, dust-shrouded bedroom felt like stepping into a cold, ancient tomb. The silence was profound, almost suffocating, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves outside and the occasional deep groan of the old house settling, as if sighing in its sleep. But as midnight approached, a peculiar, unnatural chill descended. It wasn't merely the dampness of the old stones. It was a biting, unnatural cold that seemed to seep into her very bones, stealing the warmth from the air, making her shiver uncontrollably. The thermometer she'd brought, a precise instrument, plummeted several degrees in a matter of minutes. Then the whispers began. At first, she thought it was merely the wind playing cruel tricks with the ancient chimney. But no, these were distinct, though utterly unintelligible, murmurs. They seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the house, from the solid walls, the creaking floorboards, the high ceiling. They were filled with an unbearable sorrow, a deep, pervasive grief that twisted her stomach into knots, a feeling of profound loss. Driven by a historian's innate instinct, or perhaps by a foolish, irresistible fascination, Emily clutched her recorder tightly and moved towards the source of the sound. It seemed strongest from below, drawing her deeper into the manor's secrets. She descended the grand, creaking staircase, each step a loud protest against the oppressive quiet. The whispers grew louder, coalescing into what sounded like agonized whimpers and choked sobs, though still no discernible words, just raw emotion. They led her to the darkest corner of the basement, a section she hadn't even noticed during her thorough daytime survey. There, obscured by decades of thick cobwebs and accumulated debris, was a narrow, hidden door. It was old, heavy, made of dark, rough-hewn wood, and conspicuously without a visible handle. Hesitantly, Emily pushed against it. To her profound surprise, it swung inward with a low, grating groan, revealing a small, musty room previously unknown, a forgotten chamber. Inside, piled haphazardly, were old, decaying furniture and a single, ornate mirror. Its once gilded frame tarnished and peeling, its surface clouded with the accumulated dust and grime of ages. Emily stepped inside, the air growing colder still, thick with the cloying scent of dust and something else. Something metallic and old, like stagnant blood, a smell that prickled her nose and sent shivers down her spine. As she approached the mirror, she saw not her own reflection, but a chilling scene from the past. A family stood before it, their faces etched with unspeakable fear, their eyes wide with terror, their expressions frozen in time. They seemed to be looking at something just out of Emily's view, something horrifying. Suddenly, the father figure in the reflection, a man with a wild, desperate look in his eyes, pointed a trembling finger directly at Emily. His mouth moved, forming words she couldn't hear, his lips contorting into a silent, agonizing scream. A primal dread seized Emily, gripping her heart in an icy vice. This wasn't a mere reflection. It was a window, a terrifying portal, and they, the trapped souls of the past, could see her. The room around her began to shake violently, dust raining down from the ceiling in thick clouds. The whispers exploded into a cacophony of agonizing screams and desperate pleas, filling the small space, deafening her with their intensity. The mirror's surface rippled, distorting like disturbed water, the faces within twisting into monstrous caricatures of despair. Emily's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic, desperate drumbeat against the escalating horror. She knew, with chilling certainty, that whatever happened to that family, she was witnessing the very moment of their despair, their final torment, and she was next. With a desperate, guttural cry, Emily stumbled backward, tripping over unseen objects in her blind panic, scrambling wildly towards the hidden door. She yanked it open, her fingers raw and bleeding from the effort, and burst out into the relative safety of the basement, gasping for breath, her lungs burning with the stale, dust-filled air. She fled the manor, leaving her research, her valuable equipment, and every shred of her scientific skepticism behind, forever altered. The cries of the past still echoed in her ears for weeks, a persistent phantom torment. To this day, Hollow Manor remains untouched, its dark secrets locked away within its walls, echoing through time, waiting patiently for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon its hidden horrors. And Emily? She never returned to the countryside, haunted by the pervasive fear that one day she might see her own reflection pointing back from the mirror of Hollow Manor, trapped forever